Hey guys, this is episode 21 of Double Cross Anime, the podcast. My name's Whooper, and I'm joined by...
Mario.
Hey there. Thanks for being here. So this week in anime was not a great one. In fact, it was so mediocre that we decided to drop one of the four shows that we've been talking about up until this point. One of the four summer anime.
Mm-hmm.
You want to reveal what that anime was?
Alright, the anime that we was talking about just then was Grand Blue.
Yep.
I think we can start with Grand Blue while we're at it.
Sure. Yeah, just on the menu today, we've got Grand Blue Episode 3, which we'll be talking about first in just a second, justifying our reasons for dropping it. We've also got Banana Fish Episode 4, Sirius the Jaeger Episode 3, and Review Starlight Episode 3, plus the next batch of Nadia, up to Episode 20. But yeah, let's get to Grand Blue Episode 3, Mario. Just go ahead and tell the people why we won't be going on with it anymore.
Alright, I just let you guys know first that I just received the message from Whooper an hour before the postcard that he said Grand Blue was really bad, that he just want to drop it.
Well,
so,
the message actually Whooper said that it was so bad it made me want to blow my head off.
Alright, but that's literally what he said. So yeah. You tell me why.
Oh, okay, I'm telling you.
You tell us why.
Sure. I mean, I take notes every time I watch something. I start watching. I get to the halfway point, where the commercial break would be, and then I write down my thoughts, and then I watch the rest, and then I write down my thoughts. And so I have like nothing for Grand Blue this week because the show itself is just it's nothing. It's trash. It's just, I assume it's just all the jokes from the manga, shot in the exact, like it's a panel for panel adaptation. I can't imagine that there's anything else they could possibly do with it because it's so low concept and stupid. It's all the stuff about trying to get Chisa drunk so that she would enter the women's beauty pageant so they wouldn't have to enter the men's beauty pageant. That was the entirety of the episode. Except for the small little serious bits about, conquer your fear and love diving. They're trying to get her drunk, and then they end up getting drunk. Like, what a wacky, crazy coincidence. This happens 3 times or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, like, yawning and struggling to stay awake. And that's all I got.
All right. Is it have something to do with the new girl as well?
No, I don't care about her. She's... whatever.
All right, because I think that's new characters. I don't remember her name actually. I didn't put down her name.
Azusa.
But Azusa.
Yep. The purple hair girl.
Yep. Because that new girl was like the product of the male dreams. That's what I think. That's what that's what I feel.
Wait a minute. When you say product of the guy's dreams, you don't mean like she's literally a figment of their imagination.
Yes, it is.
No, so you don't think she's a real person? She's like a mental projection?
No. I mean that not literally. So she's still characters, but the way she behaves, it's just like all the men wet dreams.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, I would be actually way more interested in this show if it like included her as a character for like 10 episodes, and then at the end it like pulls the blanket out from under you and reveals that she was just a dream all along. She wasn't real. Then I would be like, okay, all right, I'm interested again.
Because the reason why she hot, she actually like sleep sleep with the guys.
Oh, next to him.
The naked guys, yes. Yeah. What else? She actually have a liking for Yuri, and she actually into some the kinds of pervert stuff as well. So she basically like she doesn't feel real to me.
Oh no, of course not. I mean, does anyone in this series?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
one point. The diving part it's alright.
Oh, it is
I
not all right. It made me want to throw up every time that little earnest piano melody came in. Ah!
well, it's not that good either. And the way that that Yuri just just suddenly realize on the beauty of diving of the life underwater is like way on the nose.
They did that in the last episode too, when he goes to the aquarium with Nanaka,
Yep.
and so he actually flashes back to that in this episode when the show gets super serious
Yep.
and like follow your dreams and live your best college life and conquer your fears, and then 5 seconds later you got the guys with the black circles around their crotches.
Well, that's I think that's just a brand of humor that they go into. So
I thought it was
it's
funny
either
after episode 1. I was like, okay, yeah, this is funny.
and now.
Now I'm tired and cranky, and I just want to go to bed every time this show is on my computer screen.
Well, I still find it a bit amusing, like 20-30% amusing. But I think like the percentage will drop like after every episode.
Yeah, if it continues to trot out the same jokes from the same joke book over
I
and over.
I think one of the factor of Grand Blue is how is the repetitive of the joke as well.
Yeah,
So you see like one joke and then they will do it again and again and again. It's just kind of their like the way they do it.
yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier when they're trying to get Chisa drunk so she'll do be in the
Yep.
contest so they don't have to be. Just the sheer number of times they came up with a plan in the course of 5 minutes. The number of times they had some scheme to get her to drink. Like they put, what did they do? They dumped vodka or
Yep.
whiskey, something,
Whiskey.
on shaved ice as
Yep.
a topping, and they were like, oh, it has special syrup on it, and her response is just, no thanks, I don't want it. Like that was the joke. They tried to give it to her, and she says, "No, thank you. I do not want it." And
Yep.
so then suddenly they have
Did-
they have to eat it, and it makes them
Yep.
drunk, and that's funny.
Yep. Ha ha ha.
I'm sure
Or-
it's funnier in the manga, or I'm just not in the mood for it, or I'm just being sour about it. But it's not reaching my funny bone.
Yeah. Well, it's dumb. But you know what? I will stick around for the next episodes because on the beauty pageant, on the cross dressings, which I think will be good.
Is that actually going to happen in the next episode?
Yeah, that's gonna be the festivals, the next episodes. Yes.
Ah, yes, they have been paying some lip service to that festival thing. Yeah, that was mentioned at several points throughout the episode. So I guess they will continue on with this story.
Yep, they will. They will.
Yeah, it's the comedy, as much as I've gotten a little bit tired of it. It's really the moments when the show tries to tug at obviously it can't tug at your heartstrings. It tries to tug at like a single heartstring. Whenever it does that, I just no, it just makes me want to throw up. Like, do you remember the scene where the blonde guy, the big beefy blonde guy, is talking
Yep.
to Iori about how the businessmen are
Yep.
spending
Yep.
their time and their money on diving, so that must mean it's really worthwhile and it's really a good thing.
And then it's get to Iori, so he was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool." And I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is just so easily influenced."
It's more like the show thinks that we, the audience, are easily influenced.
Yeah, that's the scenes that I have least favorite. I just right now don't care about that scenes.
Yeah, I feel the same way. That's really the main reason why I feel like I got to get away from it. I don't really want to watch anymore. But let me know if the cross-dressing, the male beauty pageant, let me know if it's a home run, man.
Well, I think both of them, Tisa and Yuri, will win the beauty persons because they are lead characters. They have the
Yes.
power of the lead characters.
Yeah, and
Uh,
they'll probably make it into some like prom king and prom queen thing where the two
uh,
people who win the beauty contest are supposed to, you know,
dance together and kiss,
yeah,
maybe.
something like that. And then, you know, he'll act all dashing and she'll be like, "Oh no, you're a pervert, ew," and then she'll turn away and blush or something
Yeah.
stupid.
Y- But I just don't get the appeal of like cross dressing in the male beauty pageants. Is that how they usually work?
Um, no.
Yeah, I think you have to be straight. You have to dress like straight, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. This is some tradition that the diving club seems to have, or the festival has, and the
Mm.
diving club is participating. They've
Yeah,
got some history or some tradition. Maybe it's just that the diving club is like going to break the rules.
yeah. Who knows?
And
Because as far as I know, the guys, so Yuri and the blonde hair guy, gonna cross dress, but Jisa gonna just like wear on the swimsuit.
yeah, probably. Although I can't say I'm like really interested.
No, it's just a lot of fan service next week
Yeah,
for sure.
fan service built into this show. That's a part of it.
Yeah,
As we saw this week with the purple haired girl,
yeah,
Azusa.
that's right.
It's fine for what it is, but
Yeah,
I'm not into what it is.
just the thing is, I don't feel like any of these characters are real humans, so that's why I just have a difficulty to connect with all of them on the personal level, and I just stay for the joke, and sometimes some of the jokes are very stupid.
Yeah. Sometimes they land though, right? It's comedy. It's
Yep.
you can't strike out 100% of the time. You gotta put the bat on the ball sometimes, and the show does that.
And I think this will just like throw it as much as they can,
Yeah,
and hope like some of it will hit.
yeah.
Yeah, some of yeah,
It's like a
that's right.
robot. It's like a batting robot that just constantly swivels around and swings the bat over and over.
So yes, that is our impressions about um, Grand Blue, which is the reason why that we decide to quit, to stop blogging.
Yeah. What are we
How,
gonna do instead?
how, yeah, so we're gonna do Planet Wit instead, because Planet Wit, as inconsistent as they are, have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's so strange, and it blends different elements of anime and manga in such like unconventional, almost nonsensical ways that I think it'll. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll offer us a lot of discussion fodder. And I haven't seen past the first episode, but it did intrigue me a lot based on what I saw. And if I have it right, I've heard from you that it was a little better in the second episode. Maybe like it's starting to be the appeal is starting to become more clear. Is that right?
Well, I'm a bit more, like more easy to those shows than you are. So I can say for you, man,
Okay.
you go and watch it and see if it's still fascinating.
Right. Yeah, I'll check it out, and if it's if I feel like it's dumb and just garbage, and I don't feel like talking about it, then I guess we'll default to the Mongol show, which was
All
like
right.
which was our fifth place show,
Yep.
right outside the top four that we picked up. But
Yep.
I'll try out Planet with. I'll see
Yep.
if I can
So
stomach it.
so to sum it up, we replay a nonsensical comedy to another nonsensical Sky Five.
I guess so.
Let's see if it works out.
Well put. All right, what's next?
All right, you the boss.
Yes, I'm the boss this week. Let's do banana fish.
Banana-fish. All right.
This is episode 4.
Yeah, the pacing still fast.
Yep.
We got more people died.
Yes, Griffin is dead.
Yep.
Um,
I feel like the first five minutes of the show where it eventually get to the guy shot Griffin down. I feel it's way too wonky. It's way too, too quick.
yeah. I mean, I think what contributes to that feeling is that I don't think we've ever seen Griffin stand up, like out of his wheelchair.
Yep, that's right.
And so he happens to stand up for the first time on camera and walk out into the middle of a heated conflict, and then a gun gets drawn and he gets shot. So it happens very fast.
Yeah, and before he gets shot though, he actually pointed to a guy and say, "You are banana fish."
He didn't though, and that's part of what I wanted to talk about.
All right.
It's the redheaded doctor, the guy who works for Papadino, who's been desperately trying to recover the capsule with the drug in it, or the vial, whatever it is. He doesn't say "you are banana fish." He just says banana fish, and then he says some word that starts with A, like maybe I don't remember what it was, the guy's name or something. But then later, somebody attributes what Griffin said when he said banana fish. They assume that I think it's AG who says, "We know who banana fish is now."
That's right.
I'm not sure that's the case. Like if this show is going to be 24 episodes long and we're on episode 4, would they really tip their hand this early? Do we really know who or what banana fish is yet? I don't think so.
Yep. I think he just like a key to open up like another new, territories of what banana fish really is.
Yeah.
Because I think in the prison, Max and Ash also work out what or who banana fish is.
You think they have worked it out, or they're going to?
I think at one point of the episode they said they know who that is, but for us, for the audience, we don't really sure. I think it's just like only red herring now.
Right. Yeah. The doctor is such a minor player. His main role so far has just to act really worried about the fact that the vial is gone. He kind of links the drug, the whole banana fish angle to Papadino. Like that happens through his character, but he doesn't seem significant enough to hold that title, like the title that the show has.
Well, to be frank, I don't even remember him until this episode. So that just tells you how insignificant he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me rewind for a second. You said that does somebody tell Ash and Max that they know who Banana Fish is? Like, is there a meeting in one of those meeting rooms at the prison?
No. So when Ash and Max were talking about the banana fish, I think that's happened right at the end, where Ash decided to tell him all the things that he know about banana fish, and then I think one of them have a remark that I know who banana fish is.
Okay, that I don't remember. I remember Ash telling Max about the guy who brought the vial to him and then died in that alleyway, and told him to go to an address in Los Angeles. He told Max about that. The only person who I remember saying we know who Banana Fish is or what it is was AG.
All right.
But I could have. I mean, the show moves so fast that it's easy to get your facts mixed up.
That's right, and I still don't think AG is a good character for now. But I think he does serve the plot for now.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even see him after the midpoint of this episode.
Yeah,
it was like all prison all the time.
And I actually like the dynamic between Ash and Max now, now that that Mike's decide to pull back, decide to like
join up with him again instead of like getting out of the cell.
That's right.
Yeah, it was. I was really, how we're harping about about how fast the show moves, about the pacing and all that. The number one thing that I did not like, and it has to do with Ash and Max. The number one thing I didn't like about this episode was there's a scene near the very beginning after the part where Griffin gets shot.
Yep.
Because that was the cliffhanger last week.
Yep.
So then it moves to the prison, like very early in the episode, and Max moves to a new cell, and he's got the prison guard who takes him to the new place and asks him like, "Oh, did you forget something?" Do you remember that near the start?
Yep.
So then,
Yep.
so now like that scene establishes that Max is in a new cell now. He's not with Ash anymore. The very next scene is Max in the cafeteria who talks to his friend with the glasses. And the guy with the glasses says, "Oh yeah, Bull is going after Ash now." And Max thinks to himself, "Oh no, what have I done? This was a mistake. I have to go back and get Ash." In the very next scene.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure that like a day passes, but we don't get any sense of that. It's just one scene. He moves to a new cell because he can't be with Ash anymore. Next scene, bam, he has to go back to him. He feels guilty. It's like I don't know if that's the director's fault or what, but it was like I just groaned out loud when that happened. I was like, "What are you doing?"
And actually, at the end of the episodes, it appeared that Max and Ash are in the same cell again.
Yeah.
So yes, everything goes so fast without explanation, without like proper setup.
Yeah, and the fight between them. Do you remember the fight when he was like, "Oh, I was in the Navy. I'll kick your ass."
Yep.
It just made me laugh. Like, I think this is probably my least favorite episode so far. It was the one I was the most disappointed in.
I actually feel for Ash when he learned that his brothers is dead. So he actually like shut out. I actually like him doing that because it just tell me that he like he has a feeling. He's like vulnerable at that time. But like other than that, like on this scene, especially for the first 5 minutes that I told you, it was just like so wanky. So they put so hastily all together that if it doesn't feel like it hold itself all together.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The thing with Max moving to the new cell and stuff, I think that the show moves so quickly that probably fell within the first 5 minutes, because the stuff at Shorter's when AG goes to look for Shorter and then he encounters Arthur and all those guys, that's so quick. That might be like a minute and 30 seconds. Honestly, that scene. So that was kind of disappointing. I was also like the animation. It's starting to fall off a little bit. There are a lot of facial expressions that are not moving properly during conversation. A lot of limbs, like walking movement, running movement, that doesn't have the same. Is it not in the same
impact?
Yeah, it's just not up to the same standard that the first couple episodes set. So that's disappointing.
Yep. Oh, the another highlight for this episode is one of the guys, who apparently want to rape Ash, yet his yet stabbed.
Oh yeah, that was Garvey. That was the same guy who actually did rape him in the previous episode.
Yes. That's right. So I actually, like feel like hooray, yes, he deserved it.
Got stabbed in the nuts.
Yeah.
And
apart from that, though,
immediately after Garvey gets stabbed, isn't that when like Max comes in and then fights him?
Yep. No, just Max come in and then he slip out that Griffin is dead, and then they have a fight again. And even Ash said like, would you be like, why you be so hard to me? I'm just like fighting with those guys just then.
Yeah. Go easy on me.
Yeah, go.
I remember him saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad that you're coming in with the highlights of this episode because I'm pretty down on I'm pretty down on this show right now.
All right.
The setting, the plot, and some of the characters still have my interest for sure. This is not a Grand Blue situation where I just can't do it anymore. But
Nah, but
I like peg this show as the number one, you know.
mhm.
Apart from Review Starlight, I peg this show as like the heavy hitter, and I'm worried because we're only like 16% of the way in. We got 20 more episodes to go.
Yep. Well, I think like next episode, Ash gonna get out of the prisons because he got the bail and all that stuff. So when he get out, he will like literally he's on the move. He not constrict into one like in a room. So that's good, and there will be more like uh there will be more reaction interactions between Ash and Edgy,
Right.
the two list guys. So that should be good.
Yeah, and there's going to be a change of scenery too, probably because they're going to want to go to Los Angeles.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah, the place where the guy who gave Ash the drug and then died in the alleyway. He gave him an address in Los Angeles, and Ash just brought it back up with Max. He gave him that piece
That's
of
right.
information. So I think they're going to be headed there, pretty soon.
Yep. Right.
And
So
yeah.
so yeah, the quicker that Ash and Max get out of the prison, the better for the show.
I guess I agree. I mean, I would have liked these last two episodes where they were in prison. Whoa,
Sorry.
you're good.
All right.
I would have liked the last two episodes where they were in prison to actually be, to just have been produced a little better, like treated a little better. Treat that part of the story with more respect and give it the time that it needs. But maybe the what's for the best is that we would leave that part of the story behind and move on.
I would say that their whole objective of Ash going to the prison is to set up his relationship between him and Max. But I think they do treat it like respectably. It's just like pacing that they have to compress all these short materials. It's just way too quick.
That's kind of what I mean by respect. Is I wish that the director or whoever's in charge of planning and distributing manga chapters across episodes, I wish they would have like given it the time that it needs. But given what we've seen so far of the series, I don't think that a lot of it is going to get the time that it needs. I think we're going to fly through it.
That's
so
right.
hopefully it stays entertaining, and we'll.
Yep.
I don't see this series going past entertainment. I don't see it moving into the realm of like high art or anything, as silly as that sounds, because it really is just kind of pulpy and like fast moving, and people getting shot left and right, and people getting mad at each other and taking revenge on each other and then being friends again, all in the span of one episode. That's just that's the way it goes right now.
And the people around Ash will eventually get shot and died. So we have two of them die already. I suspect Max gonna die at some point in the future, and maybe like in the end, Edgy is die as well.
You think so?
Well, it's a show between the underdog with like the very big mafia syndicate. So I would say so.
Yeah, I mean we definitely know he's in trouble because Ibe-san wants to take him home to Japan, and Eiji says no. I want to stay here. I don't know why he would be so
fixate.
Yeah, I don't know why he loves New York or America so much, or why he feels so tied to Ash after what little they've been through. I mean, they did have like a near-death experience together. They've been captured and all that, but I don't know. We just haven't gotten enough from AG, like you've been saying. His character has yet to like really knock my socks off. But maybe
Yeah,
we'll get there, hopefully.
I I, I think it's just purely like edgy affection to Ash that he want to stay in New York. But then again, because Edgy is not that established as a character, we don't have any reason to care about him either. So now it's more that Edgy serve as like the love interest slash partner of Ash more than his own characters.
Yeah. I do. There are a couple things to like about AG. I really like. Remember the pole vaulting scene in episode
Yep,
2 where he goes over
yep.
the thing.
That's the only thing that I remember him as a character.
Yeah.
Actually.
I really loved that scene. I love the music choice, like the palm muted guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
the choice of the shot where you can see him like flying through the sky in Ash's eyes. You see the
Yep.
reflection. I can
Uh-huh,
picture all
uh-huh.
that, like, and I can hear it very very distinctly. That's
Yep.
like you said, that was the big thing that left an impression for me.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think we'll get to some better material. At least I hope so. We'll see.
Sure. All right. Let's get to the next show.
All right. What will it be?
Yep.
Sirius the Jaeger?
Let's do the other one.
You want to do review Starlight?
Yep. Review Starlight.
All right. So I did not take nearly as many notes this time. I took less than 1 page.
All right. Wow. That's a lot. All right. Tell me.
Show is still great. It's still great.
Yep. All right. Tell me your general impression of the episode first.
My general impression is that it was great.
All right.
I mean, I have a lot of other more specific impressions.
All right.
But how did you feel about it? I think this show is just AOTS. This is just
All right.
anime of the season.
AOT wide.
Maybe. I mean, it's right now. Honestly, for me, it's a race to see if this thing can pass after the rain.
All right. All right. For me, this episode was a slow one. I think it's a bit of a step down between the first 2 episodes in terms of story wise, but it's still entertaining. It still have a lot to offer us, and we will have a lot to talk about. So, what is the most important thing that you want to discuss first?
Most important. Well, given the fact that this show is playing a few of its cards pretty close to the vest, it's hard to know what's actually the most important. But one, I mean, I would probably default to Karen's duel versus Maya.
All right.
Just the how
Yeah.
how cool it was, like how crazy it was, like visually and even conceptually.
Yep.
Because Maya, she's the number one. So the entire fight was set up to emphasize the fact that Maya is the top star. Like she's the big name. She's the contender. Like when you see her, Maya and Karen fighting, Karen is always positioned below her, like at the bottom of the stairs.
That's right. That's right.
And even when she manages to fight her way up to the middle and starts to walk up the stairs towards that torch at the top, then the stairs it turns into a slope, as if like destiny itself is against her.
Yep.
And Maya just cannot be opposed. And then all the the crazy stuff with the torch, like flames flaring up behind her, and then after she wins, the spotlight projecting her silhouette onto that curtain. It's like you really get a sense of how imposing and how powerful a presence Maya has.
Yep. Yes, I agree. One thing before the Dash do start out, how do we expect like the 2 contenders, like which exactly who will fight who? Do you have any idea? Because I think it's just too random for me in this episode that Karen had to fight Maya.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yep.
You would think, based on the rivalry between Maya and what is her name, Claudia?
Claudia. Yep.
Yeah, you would think that based on the rivalry that we've been getting between those two, it might be their duel. I was thinking
Yep.
that, like, because we saw little snippets of their fight at the end of episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking that this episode might kind of double back and show us everything leading up to that fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it didn't. It actually pushed forward. And
Yep.
the show does kind of seem to fling its characters together a little bit haphazardly. For example, we got some pairing mix-ups, like
Yep.
Claudia was paired with Futaba, the red-haired girl,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then Mahiru, the Karen's
Yep.
roommate,
Mm-hmm.
with the two little strands of hair like sticking out to the side.
Yep.
She was paired up with Kaoruko, the sleepy blue-haired girl.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that, like, I wasn't expecting that at all. I think
Yeah.
they worked okay, those characters being together, but
All
yeah.
right. I actually that was one of my favorite part in this episodes because I can see now I can see more dynamic between like different characters with different pairings together, and I like it. I think I'm pretty sure that it's like shed some more light to the characters that we know. So for example, Karuko, the sleepy girl, or actually like more of a calculated girl who actually like more like aware of everything more than like let's say my hero. So I like that. I even like Futaba, which is more like a male versions. Like she like the most masculine.
Yeah, I mean, in terms
Um,
of her voice, definitely.
yeah, in terms of her look as well. And yeah, so I actually like on the different pairings, and I think it works more as a character developments for all these characters.
Hmm. I yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I
Mm-hmm.
really personally I don't feel as though the characters are getting a lot of, like, quote unquote development.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to represent things more than they
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yep.
appear as living, breathing people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, Karen is all about inclusivity and doing one's best, and Maya is all about. She is. I mean, you know how all the reviews have different names. This one was the review of Pride.
Yeah. That's what I want to talk about as well.
Yeah. So Maya, being as talented as she is, she's very prideful, and she kind of resents the fact that Karen wants to, like, that Karen doesn't have her sights set high enough, that she's not ambitious enough, because
Mm-hmm.
she wants to include Hikari in
Yep.
in her, in the spotlight with Karen. She wants it to be a two-person thing, but
Mm-hmm.
Maya thinks, like, that's impossible. That's ludicrous. So you have to do your best for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of see the characters as being archetypes and as representing different personality traits, emotions.
Ideas.
Yes, ideas, exactly.
All right. Let's get back to the name of the review,
Yeah.
because this week we have the review of designs. The review of Pride,
Yes.
and last week is a review of design. So, um, which for me, I still don't really get what that's mean. Is it like the review of Pride? Is that mean to Maya as the characters, or is
Yes.
that to the duo, or is that to like the theme that this episode have? Because I can really get my finger on that.
I think it has to do with whoever Karen's opponent is.
All right.
So in this episode, it was Maya, and it was the review of Pride because she's quite prideful.
Mm. All right.
My subs in the last episode said the review of Passion. Did yours say Desire?
I say desire.
Okay, yeah,
All right.
those are two words for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Review of Passion. So that
All right.
probably has something to do with the fact maybe desire is actually a better word there because it was all about Juna wanting so badly to surpass everyone. So that was like her chief desire. That was what she really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember
Or,
the name of the first review.
uh,
Was it
I
Loyalty?
is it because I check it and because Karen was like in the middle of the fight when she get there. We didn't actually hear the name.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I remember, but maybe I miss it.
I'm checking right now. I'm checking my notes.
All right, did you have that on the
Um,
note?
I don't know.
You have like the whole pages, the whole like
I had
more than one pages,
yeah.
so that's why you couldn't find this.
For episode 2, I had like tons and tons and tons of notes. It doesn't look like I wrote it down. I feel like it was the review of Loyalty.
All right,
Um, I
which
could
making
be
sense.
I could be imagining that, but yeah, it would make sense because Karen is loyal to Hikari.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It is Hikari, right? Not Hikaru. I'm not making like a complete ass out of myself.
He carry. This
Hikari.
mean light.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not Hikaru. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. And one other characters that I want to. Oh, you want to talk? Is there any other thing that you want to talk?
Yeah, probably. But go do your thing while you still have it in mind. What do you
All
want to
right.
say?
One of the other characters that I want to talk about is Banana, because apparently she got like an act of her own that I still don't know what to make of it. So she want to stay behind the spotlight. She want to get into the production stage. And at first, I thought that Karen, she will be the one who fight Karen at the end.
Okay.
And turned out it's not. So I'm all I say is like on this the episode is it's like get more development to the characters. It's like setting up on the characters.
Right. We do get more, for example, from Futaba and Kaoruko in this episode than we ever have before.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but it did seem as though the first girl to get a spotlight shown on them in this episode was Banana. So I understand why you would think that it would be Banana down there in the
Yep.
in the basement,
Yep.
taking part in the review. But I
All right.
I was kind of happy that it was Maya because I do feel like she's one of the show's most commanding and strongest characters, just from the standpoint of who has the most impact, who are you most excited to hear from and to learn about and to watch them duel.
Yep. And apparently there are like two duels, one with Karen and the other one that like happened like simultaneously at the same times,
Right. Just like
assumedly,
last week.
just like last week. So this week we have Claudines and Futaba.
Right.
And what do you think? Is there any significance behind that? Behind like the two duels happen at the same times, but we can only see once.
The thing that this is something that I mentioned last week. I think the reason or the significance of seeing two of them happening at one time, it kind of lends credence to the theory that this isn't happening in a physical space. It's more symbolic and more metaphorical. Although we do in this episode we do see Karen actually run down the hallway into the elevator, and we see it go down. Go down to the basement like it did in the first episode. In the previous episode, we saw everyone's phones ring, and then it immediately cut to Karen falling down past that red screen, and then the transformation sequence. So I was like, okay, so is she actually going somewhere physically to begin the duel? But in this episode, we got confirmation like she is going to the elevator.
Yep.
But even that, I'm not sure if it really matters. Like the show's goal is to just get us to the review at the end.
Yep. My point is the second duel happen right at the same time have any significance to the story?
Oh, I
Because I think if we can cut that part, it still doesn't hurt the show very much
right. Yeah, I
for now.
that was the part of the episode that I was most disappointed with. Actually, was the fight between Futaba and Claudia, or Claudine, whatever her name is. Be-
Because we don't see any fight.
yeah, we don't see a lot of combat, but we didn't see a lot of combat between Claudia and Maya.
Either, right?
Yeah, but that at least we knew that we knew the story between them. They were like number one and number two. I don't get a sense that there's a lot of there's not a lot of thematic resonance between Futaba and Claudia.
All right. Actually, there is like foot for all the for let's say for all the competitive between Claudine and Maya. Futaba is actually the one who like see through all that. We see that before. Whenever like the two of them fight together, Futaba is the one witnessing things. Like from the very first episode. So I do think it makes sense that Futaba is the one who realized how Claudine struggles, like to improve herself in order to surpass Maya. So it's kind of makes sense to me.
Okay. That's not something I've noticed.
All right, but
Futaba
yep.
watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, maybe I have actually.
Yep,
Like
maybe you have.
the scene in the first episode, I think it's the first episode where they sit down to eat, Maya
Yep.
and Claudia, and like she wants to make it into an eating contest.
Yep.
Is Futaba the one
Who
who sees
stand right
that?
in the middle?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. She's standing there with Calruco, because
Yep.
at
And
that
Karuko
point they're
what
always at like joined at the hip.
to get. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yes,
I'm
and
just not sure what significance there is in her being the one to see them all the time, because her story is like she's always together with Calruco, but in this episode she kind of talks to Claudia about wanting to break away from that and be her own person, and shooting for the top star because maybe she can do it too.
yep.
I feel like
Well,
that's really different from Claudia's story, because she already is in the position to maybe be the top star, and she's got somebody who she wants to beat.
I think it's just for setup right now. So like in the next few episodes, we will see more of how this relationship, how the interactions will go to.
Yeah, probably so.
But
I mean, we're only 3 episodes in, and the
that's
show
right.
does seem to be willing to pair up a whole bunch of different girls in different situations. So I'm sure we haven't seen the last of that either.
All right. There's one more thing that I want to touch upon. Do you have any others more significance
Yeah,
on the note?
yeah, I do. But we're
Uh,
running out of time. You do your thing. I'll see if it's something that I wrote down here.
all right, I will say it quick. That the I want to talk about the weapon, the choice of weapon. That's the girls have, because Karen and Maya in this episode they have like the knife. What the swords.
Yes, they both have swords.
Uh, Tuna last week she have
Bow.
the boat, and Futaba, as far as I can see, she have an axe.
Yeah, she did.
So yeah, I just think that all those like actually speak to their character as well. I could say more about that, but yeah, I just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, well, we might need to wait and see what everyone's weapons are.
That's right.
Um, yeah,
All right.
I'm not really ready to comment on that. I would want like a full spreadsheet of everybody's like names, personalities, and weapons before I start to make any like big theories or anything.
All right.
But
All right.
that is something interesting to consider.
Yep. That's something we can take note.
Yes, even more notes than we already are.
That's right. Do you have any other things?
Now,
Just one more thing before we start to the other one.
we've already been talking about this show for almost 20 minutes.
All right.
It's fine.
All right. So let's get to
Yes.
the lasso.
Sirius the Jaeger.
Yep. All right. I will say that say that now. I will say it first that the more I watch Juliet the Jaegers, the more I see the similarity between this show and another show, original show as well from this season, which is Phantom in the Twilight. They have both about the supernatural, um, the superpower people like werewolf and vampire. They also get the plot about the werewolf that have brothers, the werewolf brothers,
Right.
who are in the different team. So which is just like I guess it's kind of make me feel like all of these trope that this show make is kind of like it isn't fresh to me.
Wait, so is Phantom in the Twilight about vampires?
Yeah, they're about vampire and only supernatural people.
It
Yes.
is?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I yeah, I mean, it's definitely tropey. You got the Beauty and the Beast angle with the show keeps bringing back the the granddaughter of the landlord. You know,
Oh yes.
what's her
Yep.
face with the brown hair. Every
I
time
ju-
she shows up on screen, I'm just like, it just makes me want to voluntarily enter a coma, just so I
All
don't
right.
have to see her anymore. Like in this
All right.
episode, she just like came on by, and he happened to be really upset, and he like grabbed her wrists, and he had his fangs out and his blue eyes, and then she's like, "No, I'm not afraid of you," and then she just disappears for the rest of the episode. That was like it was as though it's written into her contract that she
Yeah.
has to appear once per episode, and it was just an obligation that she be written in.
All right. To be fair, with this episode, I think this is the best episode of the show so far.
I think so too.
Because, yep. Being said that, because it have like the backstory of Yuri
Right.
and the chemistry between Yuri and his brother Mikhail, which I think is important because now we have like a character we can actually root for.
Yes, you have a sense of who he is as a human being / werewolf.
That's right. Being said that, all of his flashback, plus all of these events that happen right now, in the present, are owned by the book. Like they talk like the way I would expect them to be. All the events happen like exactly how I expect them to be. So like story wise, it's just like too generic for me.
I don't mind the fact that it's kind of textbook action fantasy supernatural. I don't really mind that. What I've been
Right.
wanting from the show is not for it to innovate or blow me away in the story department, but for it to do its characters a little bit of justice, which it
Yep.
which it didn't do until this episode when we learned who Yuri really is, like
Yep.
who he is as an individual, where he comes from, what he's about.
Yep.
So I really like all the flashbacks to the scene in the village. I really loved the establishing shot of the village at sunset, like the way it was laid out with the stone walls that kind of lead up to that little like the gathering hall at the top where they have that feast.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And I loved the way it was decorated inside with the wood carvings and the rugs. Just and everyone's outfits. I kind of got the feeling that they were in Siberia somewhere. Maybe they were Ainus. You remember like Japanese
Yep.
Ainus from Golden Kamuy.
Yep.
There are also Russian Ainus. I kind
Yeah,
of
that's right.
I kind of got the sense that was the culture that the show is borrowing from.
Yep.
Because
Because
his name's
they all
Yuli.
have
And his brother's
Yep,
name is Mikhail.
they all have all the Russian names. That's right.
Right. I don't know if iNews would, even Russian iNews, I don't know if they would have those names. But since the show set in 1930, at that point in history, there'd probably been a lot of like assimilation, and a lot of iNews had kind of lost their heritage and were, kind of being brought into Russian and Japanese culture. So maybe they would have adopted those names by that point. But I just felt as though there was like some authenticity to that whole scene, with the set design and the dialogue, all the stuff about their family having been like slowly reduced in size and kind of whittled down, and there aren't too many more people who can protect the serious arc. I was interested in that. I really liked all the flashbacks.
All right. I do like those flashbacks as well. And I think the show do a great job of establishing the relationship between Yuri and Mikhail.
Yeah.
And I think like his interaction with Mikhail will be like one of the central, like plot characters development in this show.
Yeah, I think so. Because it was a really big moment when they met up at the end of episode 2.
That's right. That's gonna be like our emotional investment of the show.
Yeah.
Another one would be Yuri and that girl, which you hated the most.
Yes, I do. I don't need to see Beauty and the Beast for the 500th time.
And otherwise, I feel like the other characters from the team isn't that fleshed out yet. But I hope like in the future, because this episode is wholly about Yuli Bass.
Right. Okay, go ahead. I want you to tell me who's the guy with the green outfit and the orange hair. What's his name?
Oh, no idea.
How about the woman with the black hair, the green eyes, and the purple outfit? What's her name?
No idea either.
Okay, I'm gonna make a prediction and say that we will not remember their names even after the show is over. We won't have learned them. We won't remember them.
All right. I think like in the future episodes they're gonna be a team up. So Yuri gonna go with on like one of those guys to do the mission, and then we will learn something about them.
And then we'll forget it.
It's like in Plucked Battlefronts. They do it. They do that as well.
Oh yeah, but that show is actually like all those characters actually have a lot of personality.
Yep. All right.
Their names are Fallon and Dorothea, by the way.
All right.
and they have no presence whatsoever. Their designs are garbage. They just pop in to say like 3 lines of dialogue every episode, and then they disappear because we don't need to see them or hear from them. And I hate them.
Well, I like their designs.
No.
I like the way they talk.
I mean,
even that it's just like 3 lines.
One thing I do appreciate about them is that they're adults.
Yep.
Because I don't need to see teenagers on screen every minute of every anime series. So I mean I like that they're adults. I wish the show would do something with them, but I kind of feel as though it's too late, honestly. Like if they do it now, then it's obvious that they're just being given their little standalone episode, and then they'll go back to being irrelevant.
Speaking of that, sorry, I actually like the OP of this show. I think it's very stylish.
I can't remember it.
Oh right.
I couldn't hum it for you. I know that there's a lot of red. The main color of the OP. The screen is mostly red, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only impression that it left on me.
All right.
So I'll go back and check it out.
All right. So yes, this is one of the best episodes of the show so far.
There's been 3, so it has to be one of the best.
And I actually love the productions, whatever it has so far. on the animation is smooth. The design, the on the design look great.
Nope.
Yes. You just said the flashback, the design look good.
Oh
I
yes.
mean like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
the background design,
Yes.
the
The
art design.
backgrounds are great. The outfits are great. Yeah, but you know which designs I don't like.
Yep.
Here's a question for you. What is the serious arc? Because
What is?
there was a lot of dialogue about that from the grandfather
Oh, yep.
to
All right.
his daughter and Yuri and
That.
Mikhail. What's the serious
All
arc?
right. I don't have any like comfort like any concrete idea for now, but I know that it's something important that that the whole series guys have to protect them.
Right. Yeah. So last week I kind of predicted that Sirius was the name of a werewolf, and that anybody who gets bitten by him is that part of his clan, like the Sirius clan.
Yep.
But now that's probably incorrect, because we've got this new thing called the Sirius arc. So like their village or their tribe is tasked with protecting it. So that's probably what makes him a Sirius. That's why Agatha and Kirshner have been referring to Yuli that way, that he's a Sirius, because he's just part of that group.
And apparently that is like have a great power that can change the world. So the vampire really looking for that.
Right. It must be in Japan. It must be in Tokyo, and that's why the story is taking place where it is in the present day.
All right, it must be in the place where that girl stay.
What?
So remember the girls who have a crush on Yuri?
Yeah.
That must be in that place, so that like she will have more role in the future, and that Yuri will get affection to her.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but I agree. Yes. So I think the plot coming forward will be like them looking for the exact place of the egg.
Right. Yeah, and I'm a little more optimistic about the show now that I've seen this episode.
Yep.
I mean, I
Me
hope.
too.
I wish it would just forget what's going on in the present, and it would be about the adventures of of young Yuli and young Mikhail, like hunting reindeer in the forest.
It might make a good show.
Yeah,
a better show than this one.
I'd watch it, like a slice of life about young werewolves and
learn to be
whatever.
human.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
What's
so
next?
Nadia's Secret of Blue Water.
Yeah.
Episode 16 to 20.
So we're coming off episode 15, which was the one where 3 crew members were trapped in they were sealed off from the rest of the sub, the Nautilus, in a room full of toxic gas, and they died like a terrible, violent death, which caused John to like scream out in mental anguish.
Yep.
Because he was forced to confront the reality of like what was happening. The guy was begging for his life. That's the note we ended on.
Yep.
And now we've got a new set of 5 episodes that were not as somber as I was expecting. The show does spend a little bit of time. It spends an episode on their funeral. Like they go back to Atlantis for the funeral.
Yep, that's right.
I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, and what got me is like the Atlantis that we got, the version that we got. It's just like the ruin.
Yeah.
Which like nobody live there anymore. It just like it actually remind me of the world in Girl Last Tour.
Right.
Last year.
Just a gigantic graveyard.
Yeah. It just it had like only on the things on the like infrastructure that's still too great, but like nobody lived there to actually like make any use of them anymore.
I actually, when watching this episode, I didn't get the sense that there was a lot of ruined infrastructure or a lot of ruined
Yeah,
buildings. I saw it as mostly like flat land.
wasteland.
Yeah, like
All
a
right.
wasteland. I was
Hmm.
kind of shocked and like disappointed by that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Wow.
wonder what happened to like it was completely wiped out, like leveled to the ground.
Yeah.
I wonder how that happened.
Or I think it have to do with the destruction that the Neo Nautilus, oh no, the Neo
Yeah,
Atlantis
right.
they make.
Yeah, there was probably some kind of war or something
Yep.
because this is a really super advanced society with technology way beyond the 19th
Mm-hmm.
century stuff that John and Hansen,
Yep.
all the other
Mm-hmm.
science-minded people are used to. So there was
Mm-hmm.
probably a big gigantic war in Atlantis between
Mm-hmm.
two factions, like Gargoyle's faction and Nemo's faction, that
Mm-hmm.
involved the use of super weapons that leveled everything. And so now they just return because there's a bunch of graves.
Yep.
So I guess now Nemo just returns whenever he needs to lay his crew members to rest after their deaths,
Yep.
and that's
One
it's
thing,
pretty depressing.
yeah, one thing I noticed about the episode 16, just right the episode after we left last week, it actually feel really like psychologically, it's I think it's like the director's mind. It remind me a bit of Eva, even if I just watched like 3 episodes of Eva.
Yeah, it's. Are you thinking in particular of the very start of the episode where it's Nadia just thinking to herself against those black backgrounds?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, that's
And
very
when she
Evangelion,
when she like just question everything,
right?
yeah, about like her existence, and then about like what good the war have, and all the kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's actually
she
remind
thinks
me very
about like,
strongly of
is this
Eva.
is this my destiny? Is this fate? Is there anything I can do about this, or is this just the life that I'm predestined to have?
Yep,
And she even tries to throw away her blue water, but it comes
yep.
back, and we get an
Hmm.
image of who is almost certainly her mother.
All right. Yep,
Like she flashes on screen for a second, the woman with the braided hair.
yep. So yes, I think this is what I know is like really good about. He passionate about he that, but it's kind of confusing, but in a good way.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yep,
Yeah, it because it feels like a departure from the adventure show that we've
that's
been
right.
getting used to for 15, 14 or so episodes. Then all of a sudden we get hit with, at the very start of the episode, Nadia just like piano music, and over top of it Nadia being like, who am I, what's my purpose, what's my
Yep,
place in the world. And then
yep.
we see her try to reject like who she is by throwing away her necklace, that the part of
Mm-hmm.
herself that she's always had and can't remember ever being without. She tries to
Yeah.
like get rid of it, and
Mm-hmm.
in essence like killing off a part of herself.
Yep,
But she even that is like denied.
yep.
She can't even take that action
Mm-hmm.
because the necklace comes back. So it is like she's a prisoner of fate, and I'm sure that as the show goes on, she'll work to overcome that.
Well, but even before the necklace come back to herself, she actually kind of regret that she throw the necklace.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like she know the responsibility that she have, and she just now it's starting for her to accept it. So
um,
I'm really glad that after that episode we get back to the normal, like the fun adventure show that we always have.
yeah,
Actually, I like that. I actually appreciate that.
yeah. I was good with it. I wouldn't have wanted it to be like 20 or 25 more episodes of just relentless darkness.
Depressing
Yeah.
stuff.
Um, right. So then after the crazy amount of just grim, bleak sadness, in episode 16, where there's a funeral and John throws away his wrench, kind of symbolizing that he doesn't have faith in science anymore, or at least not the total faith that he had before, and Nadia throwing away her blue water. We got all that out of the way, and then, yeah, it does go back to being more of an adventure show. In episode 17, that's the one where he makes the flying ship.
Yep,
That's like
that's right.
the main plot of episode 17. And there's kind of tension between him and Nadia because he wants to grow up so he can like fulfill his dreams, and she having a like mistrust for adults. She doesn't want to do that. That was a theme that I saw in episode 17 as well as in episode 20. So I'm interested in that because that also crops up in Ava. How did you feel about the fact that was like so overt in this batch of episodes?
All right, I actually like the fact that John want to make the aircraft again because it remind us of the old charm from the show right at the beginning. So I like that. I feel like the Grandis gang on this batch of 5 episodes doesn't have much to show.
That's true.
Yeah, and we know more about Captain Nemo though, about how how he will bring those the ship back to their base, which is in the North Pole, the South Pole.
South Pole, yeah.
Yeah, and
isn't that all the way in like episode 20, or was that 19? That's 19.
I think that's 19. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, he made acquainted with between Nadia and the whale.
Yes. I thought that was very strange.
It's strange. It's always strange.
Like the telepathic communication between Nemo and Nadia, and Irian the whale.
Yep.
I was reminded. You know what I was reminded of was Chisei in Ancient Mage's Bride.
That's right.
Talking to the dragon and kind of like seeing it off into the afterlife.
That's right. I have that feeling as well.
I'm pretty sure that kind of story has been done, like hundreds, if not thousands of times. But that's just like a recent example that popped into my mind.
Yep.
That was like my favorite episode of Mage's Bride, honestly.
Yep. I like on the act design, on the things that they put to the scenery. Like you remember how when Nemo, John, and Nadia go to the tube, and they actually see like on kinds of on the animals.
Well, yeah, not animals. Weren't they like dragons holding spears and like a whole bunch of ancient creatures?
That's right.
What did Nemo call them? There were some sort of life form that used to like quote unquote rule the earth. Something soar, not dinosaur, but something that was
Sansosho or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of gave a little speech about how it wasn't always humans who were at the top of the food chain or the dominant species on Earth. That Earth is much older than we are, and we should like keep that in mind, like take the long view of things. Kind of reminded me, like this show, not just in this batch of episodes, but in perhaps its whole run, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Star Trek. There's
right.
like a large emphasis on exploration and on philosophy and on the theme of science versus nature, and it kind of has that same vibe to it.
Yep, I think it's more concerned about the theme of evolutions.
Yeah, that too.
Yep.
You know what else was interesting?
So I like that. Yeah. What else?
What else was interesting about that scene where they're going through the where they're standing on like the magnetic whatever that thing is, they're going through the tube.
So
I was struck by the fact that Nadia referred to them as angels and John thought that they were devils or demons. The things that were frozen in the ice. That kind of struck me as
Mm-hmm.
like Nadia represents everything that is natural and Jean represents everything that's scientific. So those being
Mm-hmm.
like natural creatures that once lived on Earth, Nadia would like revere them, and John would perhaps be frightened of them or not recognize them, not trust them because they don't fall within his existing set of knowledge.
Yep.
So they're the
Hmm.
two characters are still acting out kind of their roles, their dual roles of
That's
being
right.
one of them natural, one of them artificial.
Yep. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say? How about episode
Um.
18? That's the one where they actually journey to the South Pole, and that's where the giant squid and like the volcano.
Oh, yeah. That was good as well. So that's what against the fight between the artificial and the natural, which I think really cool and really cool concept, and they have the same name as well. So Nautilus the natural and Nautilus the ship.
Did was that giant squid thing actually named Nautilus?
Yeah, I think people in the ship name him Nautilus. I don't really know. Is that the species
I had
named Nautilus?
the vibe that I got was that they called him that because he was like huge, because he was
Yeah,
of a
he.
similar size to the submarine.
Yep. So I so that speak to the same theme that we just talked about as well. So
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, I guess it does. I didn't make that connection.
Mm.
Yeah, and they actually use the volcano, the underwater volcano, which is a natural formation
Mm-hmm.
to solve the problem rather than using weapons or because
Yep.
they shock it. They send an electric shock through the armor plating, and it actually doesn't work. So they
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
need to use the natural volcano in order to solve the dilemma that they're in.
That's right.
So perhaps that's like preparing us, giving us a taste of the show's ultimate message, which is that no matter how like appealing or powerful or like intoxicated you get with scientific progress, and that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
Neo Atlantis represents, because they wanted to make the Tower of Babel that goes all the way up to heaven or reaches God or whatever, and they have the death ray that they want to use it to destroy islands, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
all of that's like science pushed to the brink. But of course they're
Yep.
the villains, so in the end they will lose.
We don't know about that yet.
I
I
mean,
think
go ahead.
yep. I think the next batch would be interesting because we have both the stopping point where the show eventually will go to fillers episodes. And I actually just realized one of the title in the episode 22, I think. The title was the betrayal of Electra.
Oh, don't. Why would you tell me that?
Now that actually that make me want to watch it.
No, I don't want to hear about that. I'm upset. No.
So actually, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be. It's not actually the betrayal. It's something about the
I no.
something along the
La la la
line.
la la. I'm not listening.
So yes, it's gonna be good.
I hope
But
so.
before that, we got like the big battle between Nautilus and neo Nazi.
Neo-Nazi, I
They
guess.
look like neo Nazi. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a very strange scene where in I can't remember what episode it was, but it was us getting our first glimpse of Neo Atlantis or their ship in quite some time, their airship, with all
Yep.
the grunts giving reports about how they had like infiltrated the world's militaries and how they controlled like
Yep.
80% of the wealth on
Yep. Yep.
Earth
Yep.
and a bunch of like that seemed very weak to me.
All right.
The idea that there
Obvious.
yeah, just that there's a meeting and they're like, "Oh yeah, so we've basically conquered the entire world. Just so you know,
Yep.
we're bringing you up to speed, viewer."
Yep. Yep.
That didn't sit too well with me.
Yep. It's a bit more exposition on that scenes, but I like the fact that it's worked like the conspiracy theory that there's a whole a group that actually control the world.
Yeah, the Illuminati.
Yep,
The Neo-Atlantean Illuminati.
that's right.
You know what else we learned in these episodes? Nadia has a brother.
Oh yes, that's right. Because actually the whales didn't actually mention about the brothers. She just mentioned about Nadia will miss something close to her.
Right.
And she just immediately said that, oh, is it my brothers? And I don't even remember she mentioned her brother once
Yeah, I
before.
don't think she has either, but I think it's probably something she has a like a distant memory of.
Mm-hmm.
And the whale being some sort of like, supernatural entity, being able to
Yep,
communicate telepathically and perhaps see, like clairvoyant, see into the future.
yep,
It knows that Nadia is about to like reunite with her family in some way.
yep,
And that wasn't the only hint at her family that we got in this batch of episodes, because in episode 16, when she throws away the necklace, she gets that vision of a woman for a second, probably her mom. And in episode
yep,
20, when we're in the captain's quarters with Captain Nemo, he's looking at a hologram of
yep,
a woman holding a baby.
yep.
And
And there was a kid.
yes, there's a young boy, a little bit older
Yep.
than the baby Nadia.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably his wife, and he's the dad.
Yep.
But
That's right.
there was also the fifth person in that group was an older man, perhaps his much older brother, or his father, or her, or Nadia's grandfather, like maybe on the other side of the family.
All right.
I kind of think that that Nemo and Gargoyle are related somehow.
Oh,
That perhaps
I
Gargoyle
I
is like an uncle or something.
yep. Or brothers,
Yeah, they could be brothers.
or even father and son.
That I don't know about. It maybe. I mean, Anno loves to create conflicts between fathers and sons,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
don't like that
possible.
either. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's probably more like maybe Nemo is a prince, and Gargoyle is the evil uncle,
Yep.
who was the younger brother to Nemo's dad, who was the
Mm-hmm.
king, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, but we like if you count the vision that Nadia had, and then the premonition from the whale, and then the hologram in Nemo's quarters, lot of hints about Nadia's
Yep.
family, which kind of
Sure.
makes me disappointed to realize that we're coming up on like the quote unquote filler section, and
I yeah, I actually looking forward to that to see like how big the gap. That's the quality just like decrease.
but I want her to like learn about her family, and I want to know too, and we probably won't get any of that.
Or
Like,
maybe or maybe the Ondo fillers are all about her families. Who knows?
maybe. I mean, we'll just have to watch to find out.
Yeah, that's right. I actually looking forward to that.
Um, yeah, so that's episode 20 that we've been talking about with the hologram. And
Yep.
this is the episode that kind of revisits the tension between children and adults, because Nadia
Yep.
is like giving Nemo a hard time about he like shuts down Jean, and he
Yep.
for making that big noise with the flying
Yep.
machine, which allows the Garfish ships to track them.
Yep.
Uh, and then Nadia, of course, fires back at him because she doesn't have a very good relationship with Nemo, and he hits her.
Yep.
Um,
Well, I think on that affair, I actually agree with how Nemo handled that. Not when he hits Nadia, but when he scold John for like making noise.
yeah,
So
I
that
I
that
mean,
that that just make me an adult.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's not easy to say who's right definitively, because
Yep.
the problem is, and this is something that the show's been addressing for a while now, not just here in these episodes that we're talking about now, but there's a tension between children and adults, because children don't have a complete grasp on who they are or their place in the world yet. They don't have a perfect understanding
Yep.
of what's going on around them. But
Yep.
the metric by which we judge whether or not they understand what's going on is itself an ignorant one. Like, we don't understand everything as adults. So
That's right.
if as adults we say to kids, "Oh no, you just don't understand. We're doing this for your own good," or "I can't answer that question because you're still a child." That when we say those things, that's coming from a place of a lack of understanding, because
That's right.
we don't understand everything that's going on. And I think that's something that the show is pushing very hard and is coming through very clearly, because Nadia doesn't, the like, given her history and her lack of secure relationships with adults at any point in her life,
Mhm.
she doesn't really trust that when an adult says, "Oh, you know, it's I'll tell you when you're older," or I can't answer that," or
Mm.
you're a kid, so you need to act this way and you need to respect adults.
Mhm.
She just doesn't buy any of that. So that made it really heartbreaking for me when Nemo, you know, did what he did,
Yep.
even though he is in all likelihood her father.
Mhm.
Um, I feel, you know, I feel bad for her.
Yep. Well, I
It's
agree with all you said. Yes.
yeah, like thinking back to what we learned about her in the first episode, about how like lost and forlorn, sad of a character she was set up to be.
Mhm.
And even episode 2, like when when she escapes with John in the boat, and they're
Mhm.
going back to his aunt's house, or
Mhm.
I think it was his
Yeah.
aunt.
Yep.
Um, she's just like sitting there quietly, not engaging with him at all.
Mhm.
She's still, even though she's like become more, she's come out of her shell a little bit, um, since they've set off on this adventure. She's still the same person. She's still that same like fragile, sad person.
Mhm.
And I think eventually she's going to come to a breaking point.
Yep.
So not looking forward to that.
Well. All right. So we actually gone through half of Nadia's Secret of Blue Water. How do you feel about the show so far?
It's a good show.
It's a good show. I
I
agree.
like it. I like
Mm-hmm.
almost everything about it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm I when I said I like almost everything about it, I was trying to think of one thing that I would really disapprove of,
All right.
and I came up empty. I mean, the art is sometimes like, you know how the characters are painted, like
Yep.
they're painted cells. You put them on top of the background. Sometimes the paint goes outside the outlines, like the
So
borders of
it
their characters. So
so
the
it doesn't mesh.
yeah, sometimes the production is not perfect.
Yep.
Because this was like, was this Gainax's first television series?
I
I
think he have some before that. I'm very sure on that.
I think they just did
I
like films and
he
OVAs before this.
he did an OVA of Gunbuster
Right. And
before
then
that.
Wings of Hania Mise, or however you
Yep.
pronounce that,
Mm-hmm.
which is a
Right.
tremendous looking film.
Yeah.
Um, but I think this is their first television series, and I think that shows. That might be my
Ye-
biggest gripe.
All right.
How about you? How do you feel about it?
I like the show so far. Yes. One. I'm thinking of the biggest strength of the show that I feel that must be the ideas that would how they put on the details into the backgrounds into on the place that those kids and the ship going. So remember like the knob the South Pole that have like a lot of details into it.
Or just like how they got there.
How even how they got there, even like the structure.
Oh yes,
the infrastructures of all the things. And that's the first thing I like. The second is they still doing very well the adventure sense of those of Nadia and John. Like everything they discover is are new, modern. That and also I like the direction of the show. Like remember what we talked about Mary who walked into the trail.
Yes.
I think the directions it elevate the show to like another level.
Yeah, I don't think any of these 5 episodes that we saw in this batch, I don't think any of them got even close to Mary walking on the train tracks.
Well, I'm thinking of the Nautilus with that sweet things. Actually, it was very good, but yeah, it's not comparable to the last one that we see last week.
Oh man, when she looked up and saw the track branching off in a bunch of different directions and said, "Oh my god!"
Oh my god. that get me, man. That got me every time.
Yeah, like when I watch anime, the reason I have to take all these notes is because I'll forget stuff. But I don't need any reminders for that scene. It's just stuck in my head.
You can just write out, "Oh my god," and you will know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, that was the show definitely it creates memorable moments.
Yep, that's right.
Like big like soaring triumphs for his characters too. Like when John, when one of his inventions actually works and he takes off into the sky with Nadia and in the helicopter thing, they go through the clouds and all that. That's that really sticks in my head.
Yep. And when they go dark, they can go really dark.
Oh yeah.
So yes.
You know, episode 16, the one where with the funeral in Atlantis and all that. That actually that was a sleepy episode for me. It wasn't so sad as it was like subdued.
Yep.
And I kind of had to like wake myself up after. I went and took a shower after I watched that episode to like to wake myself up. Cuz I had just watched Grand Blue shortly before this, so that put me in a gigantic stupor.
Well, I do understand why you feel that. It actually more like confusing, like because Nadia is in the confusing state where she question everything about that, and it's no fun. But
yeah, it
then
was
again,
not a fun episode.
It's good.
Yeah, I still like seeing Atlantis in that ruined state. Just functioning as a gigantic graveyard and a desert and all that. It makes me want to get a flashback episode. You know, to see what went on. Like I want to see Atlantis in its heyday.
Yep, I'm pretty sure we will show that. We will have a chance to see that in the future.
I hope so.
Yep. All right. You have any like closing thought?
Nope. None at all. Bring on Planet With.
Yep, I do.
All right.
And anime this week is not that good. Like all the show that we cover, at least. Next week we're gonna start with Planet With. Hopefully, Whooper will enjoy it more than Grand Blue. Otherwise, we can just do something else.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be fine. Yeah. Plus, I don't even have to stick with horrible subs because there's a subgroup called Glue that is subbing it on Ya, so I'll probably be going to their release.
On Planet With, you say?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna look it up.
Cool. All right, I'm all done. Take us
All
home,
right.
Mario.
Nah, I'm good as well.
Okay.
So, thank you for listening, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.